Hello everyone, welcome to my fabulous world. Today, I'm here on the beautiful island of Cyprus in the middle of the Mediterranean. Cyprus is a small, vibrant nation with a population of 1.2 million people. That's like 4 times smaller than Cape Town. The country is a member of the European Union, and given its beautiful climate, strategic location, regulatory environment, and favorable tax laws, is fast becoming a hub for many different technology companies. In a world of finance and markets, Cyprus has already established itself as a capital for companies offering retail trading of currencies, stocks, and commodities. Hundreds of such companies from all over the world have established operations here during that time. And I'm here to learn more about trading from the industry titan itself, Exness. So you may be wondering, why did I choose Exness? Well, Exness is a respected broker in Africa with offices in Cape Town and Nairobi. Exness will be celebrating its 15-year anniversary in December, and during this time, they have achieved some significant milestones. The company has onboarded millions of clients and more than 100,000 active traders coming from Africa alone. Exness is the largest in the industry with around 15% market share. And my guest for this 3-part series is Damian Bunce. He is the Group Chief Customer Officer at Exness and a member of its executive team and the former Chief Trading Officer of the company. Damian, welcome to My Finance podcast.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks very much for inviting us. I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Thanks, Damian. But please don't call me Professor. It sounds like you want something from me, so just call me Hetty.
Okay, Hetty. But I may want something from you.
Let's see how it goes. All right, so Damian, my first question is, I'm exploring this area to help better educate myself as well as my followers and viewers. The Forex industry has its fair share of critics. It's made people a lot of money, but it has also been associated with scamming, with unethical practices, and rapid money loss. What would you say to these criticisms?
Well, Hetty, I think it's great that you go straight for the jugular on this issue, because it is important. The reality is that the online industries, so in our case, online trading, whether it's online shopping, or whatever it may be, over the last couple of decades, it has introduced more opportunity for scams. And in particular, those maybe less used to using computers can fall for these scams more easily. It's not isolated to the trading industry or to any particular country. You only need to do a bit of research and you can see that there are scams, in all parts of the world, in all countries. And so in a sense, that criticism is justified because, you don't need to do much research before you see news. The reality, of course, is that the criticisms are fair and valid, and they, for sure, put a stain on good, reputable companies that have been running for years. But I think it's important to understand that we are a 20-year or so industry, and many of those activities, whilst unfortunately you can't eradicate them, they will exist probably in some guise for the future. Many of the actors that were involved in those things, have long gone. They've been closed down, that the rot, if you like, has gone. And the industry's been left with a dozen or so big global brokers that are well capitalized, reputable, have hundreds of thousands of clients. Obviously, smaller local brokers that are regional champions. So the industry's shaken out a lot of the problem areas. Unfortunately, not forever. You talked about, money loss.
Yeah.
And again, we're in a trading business where, you have risk and you have reward. So for those people making money, there are people losing money. You can't avoid that. I think that probably the criticism relates to leverage. If you take too much leverage, you can lose money quickly. And that's really one of the criticisms in the industry. And again, it's fair, but it's about educating yourself on, what are reasonable leverage limits and what are your risk tolerance for losses.
Yeah. So Damian, if I want to start trading, but I'm concerned about which broker to choose, what should I look out for? How will I know which one is correct? What questions should I be asking?
Well, I think whether you're booking a holiday, if you're going to spend money, you need to do some research.
Yeah.
And generally, a good starting point is to check in with people you trust that have traded with brokers and have had a good experience. And by good experience, it means they've made money, they've withdrawn the money, their customer service is good, the platform's stable. So that's your first sort of scanning Secondly, I would suggest that individuals go to the company websites. Doesn't take long to analyze, what are they displaying? Are they showing you figures? Are they showing you their traded volumes? Are they showing you the amount of withdrawals that are taking place? Do they show you where they're regulated? Do they give you the option to download financial statements, financial reports? Can you see, for example, the name of a high-profile accounting firm auditing their numbers? These are sort of spot checks that you can do. Contact the customer services department, ask for these kinds of information. So that would be sort of like the second scanning. And then I think obviously you can go to broker comparison websites, find out about what are people saying about this company. And on that basis, inform yourself, and then obviously start small, put in a small deposit, make sure that the deposit and the withdrawal process works effectively. If you don't have any steer on the industry at all, there's no compass, it's a bit of a minefield because there's a lot of brokers there. So do your research would be my suggestion.
Good advice to people at home that you've got to do your homework if you want to be a trader. There are people out there selling get-rich-quick schemes, and everyone wants to get rich quick. And these are not ethical practices, but everyone knows there is no such thing as that. But presumably some people are successful in trading. What makes a successful trader?
Well, there is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme, otherwise we'd have all found it. So your viewers need to be aware if it seems too good to be true, then it generally is. But as far as, successful traders, of course, there are hundreds of thousands of successful traders, all over the world. And when I think, or at least in my experience, those that I've met that, consistently make money, obviously everyone loses money, but on the whole, over the long run, make money, they tend to, and again, I'm generalizing here, but they tend to specialize. For example, if they're trading foreign exchange, they tend to specialize on trading 1 to 3 currency pairs, not 15. And they really understand the market and the currency. So in South Africa, for example, many traders are trading the rand, and they're trading the rand against the dollar. Clients specialize in commodities, they specialize in gold, they specialize in oil, maybe they specialize in US indices or something like that, but they don't tend to specialize across the full spectrum because there's just too much information to consume. So those that sort of have specialized in a particular asset class and maybe a subset of that asset class, they understand the impacts that global events have, on their trade. So if you're trading gold and a bomb goes off in a part of the world, there's a good chance it could have an impact on your position. And a successful trader just intuitively understands what's going on in the markets around them and how that impacts their trading. And that's true across, at least all industries. So these are things I see in successful traders. They're focused. They understand what time of day is most liquid, when's illiquid. When news occurs, what's the impact of the asset they're trading? Is it going to be a likely big drop or a big gain when markets open and close? Just simple things like that, but they understand their asset very well. And then secondly, it's about cutting losses. So understanding when the trade's not going in a direction, cutting the loss and walking away. Close the laptop, come back, follow your strategy the following day. So discipline, mental strength. Those are the sort of traits that I see of people that are successful traders.
Okay, let's talk about leverage. Exness offers leverage to its customers. This allows them to open big positions, but also leads to liquidation and more money loss. Is leverage an ethical product?
Well, let's talk about leverage. It's been offered to the richest people for years. So the hedge fund managers out there that are trading these instruments have been offered leverage by banks for many years. So the rich are getting richer. Now, leverage being offered to retail is pretty innovative. It means that someone that doesn't have the funds to purchase expensive products like gold and oil can now participate in trading. So in some respects, you could argue that it's democratizing, access to markets. But it's important to understand that if you trade with a large amount of leverage and you get a negative market move, because you don't have the equity, if you like, to support that position, then there's a chance you'll be liquidated. And of course, anybody that's gone into the market, taken on a trade with a lot of leverage and expected it's going to bring them huge profits is going to be disappointed. That's a reality. What we see is our clients are generally very educated. They understand what leverage levels are reasonable, and then they trade according to that. So I don't see anything unethical about providing leverage. What I see as unethical is brokers or influencers or anyone explaining that leverage is the way to get rich and the way to make money. It's not, but it is definitely a way to access more expensive products.
Okay. All right. What are the most popular trades on the Exness platform?
Well, we are, a big commodities house, shop, whatever you want to call it, broker. And so a lot of our clients, they like to trade precious metals, in particular gold, silver as well, a bit of platinum. But gold is a big product for us globally. Obviously, it's a huge market. A lot of our clients trade in that instrument. Energies, in particular, oil is another popular trade. In crypto, we have crypto fans. I'm sure many of your former students know about that industry. For us, it's largely Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is, I think, quite common across the industry. And then in foreign exchange, most of our clients, we trade everything, but most of our clients, or the majority of our volume, is in FX majors, so the major currencies, so euro, dollar, yen, pound, and US indices, US indices is another one. All around the world, the US tech market, as you know, has gone crazy. Companies like Apple and Google, and so trading US indices to get exposure to the US stock market is, again, also a popular trade with us.
Great. Now let's talk about crypto, which has been much spoken about. People who have made money out of it, some who have lost money. We hear a lot about crypto all over. What do you think of its future, and why is it becoming so popular in some parts of the world?
Look, the crypto industry is in the early formation stages. Whilst even people like my mum have heard of crypto, which means it's reached the outer stratosphere. The reality is that crypto as an industry is still in early formation stages. And during the early formation stages of any industry, you have bad actors that put a stain on the industry, as I mentioned earlier on. So in the case of FTX, it's a huge fraud. It created a big industry noise around crypto. Luna stablecoin was another example. And there are many that have put a sort of a bad stain on the industry. But the reality is that underpinning crypto is the blockchain technology, and blockchain technology is increasing in prominence, in usage, in sophistication, and there's no question that that's a highly innovative solution that definitely is future-proof. And we're seeing more and more companies using blockchain. So at Exness, for example, we're big believers in crypto. We develop our payment systems, our trading systems to support crypto, and we see there's a long future for it. Now, as far as the big world, and what I mean by the big world is the corporate world, the institutional market. So crypto is very, very retail oriented, but the big world, if you like, is also adopting it. So BlackRock, for instance, filed with the SEC to create a Bitcoin spot ETF. That's massive news. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. It manages pension funds for millions and millions of people. So when a company like that, in fact, the CEO went on record, when a company like that says, well, we want to be in the Bitcoin space, then it has huge ramifications for the retail community. It legitimizes it. It means that regulators step up and say, okay, we want to take this more seriously. So that was a very big move last year. The second thing was EDX, a crypto exchange in the US, with companies like Citadel and Virtu powering the liquidity there. These are the world's largest market makers in the institutional space. And so when they signal, willingness to provide liquidity, and then you have the asset management side signaling a willingness to invest, you've got something very meaningful. And I think that's a trigger for massive changes and massive acceleration over the coming 5 years.
Wow. Well, Damian, thank you so much for educating us today. I hope my followers and everyone at home, I hope you learned much from this. And now you have an idea of how to spot a scammer and what will make you a professional trader. But this is not the last. Remember, this is a 3-part series. This was only the first. We've got the second and the third coming, so please come back. But of course, the best way to do that is to subscribe and then click notifications so that you get to know when the next episode is up, and tell your friends, uncles, pastors, mothers, and neighbors to subscribe as well, because this is a place of learning and we like it when you are yourself. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.